Where to begin? Oh, how about Lamar Jackson for MVP? MVP. Because Lamar Jackson was, in fact, really good last night. And they jumped on the New England Patriots and for a time there held on and end up finishing and vanquishing the beast. That's what they did. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Lamar Jackson didn't play well, didn't do most everything that was needed in order for his team to win. That would be silly for me to tell you otherwise, right? It would be. And the Patriots, who had one of the best defenses statistically in football, and we talked about this, like how good were they? How good were they actually because of the teams in which they played against? But the Patriots, they get down 17-0. The defense looks confused. They cut it to 17-13 at the half. And the Patriots are marching down the football field. With to start the second half, down 17-13. So they're either going to trail by one, kick a field goal, or they're going to take the lead. And at the 39-yard line, at the 30-yard line, Julian Edelman catches the ball, going to the ground, fumbles, it's picked up, and run back for a touchdown. Patriots actually march back and cut it to 4. And that's where Lamar Jackson really looks special. You know, he never once got worse than 1st and 10. They were ahead of the chains the first time. The longest they had was 3rd and 7. And they scored touchdowns, 30-20. And that's kind of all she wrote, really, is Tom Brady threw an interception. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Lamar Jackson wasn't terrific last night. Played really good football. Here's Earl Thomas, his starting safety.
I'm right with the crowd. I mean that. Like, man, this man's the MVP. I'm right behind him. I'm backing him. He makes my job easier. And, you know, when you finish a game like that, man, it's just a sour relief again on us on defense. If we ain't got to have the pressure on us, we don't want the pressure now.
Okay.
But if it comes to it, we'll deal with it. But it's good when those guys capitalize for us.
Okay, listen, Lamar Jackson was good. 163 yards passing, okay, but he only threw 23 balls, 17-23, which is really accurate, especially for him. And he ran the football. He ran the offense. They survived their own turnovers. He had 61 yards rushing. The best was an 18-yard scramble, which he made dudes look like he was Mike Vick Part 2. But we need to stop with the MVP because the Ravens fans want him to be the MVP. Stop it. The same Ravens fans booed him off the football field the last game of the playoffs for the Ravens last year. Same people. Because they saw his limitations and they were frustrated by it. Why aren't they throwing the ball more? Because he's not accurate. He's gotten more accurate. We're not handing him the MVP because he's not the most valuable player in the NFL. He's not close. He's actually shouldn't be in the conversation. All this is Twitter America and idiots on TV going, well, you know, people thought he should be a wide receiver. No, that's actually not what took place. They asked him to run some routes. They asked him to run a 40. He decided not to. He wanted to be a quarterback. Well, he was so underrated coming out of college. Dude, he won the Heisman Trophy, was a first-round pick. Like Tom Brady split time as a senior, was a 6th-round pick. That's underrated. A first-round pick who wins the Heisman Trophy is not. He wasn't accurate in college. He wasn't accurate his first year. And for the most part this year, against good decent defenses, he hadn't been terribly accurate underneath and against zone looks. And last night he was. No one ever said he wasn't an NFL quarterback. The question was, could he be a quarterback long term? I will hand him the MVP award if we forget about the day that Deshaun Watson had. The season Deshaun Watson has had. Or like anything you can say about Lamar Jackson, that's great. He's better than, so far has been better than we thought he could be. That doesn't make him the MVP of the league. Like, well, Lamar Jackson, he's way more accurate than, sure, 64% completion percentage. Deshaun Watson's completing 70% of his balls. He's thrown for 2,400 yards and 18 passing TDs and only thrown 5 interceptions. Like, Deshaun Watson is better in every category. Russell Wilson is better in every category. 22 passing TDs and 1 interception. And if you've seen the Seahawks, they're not a good football team. But they got Russell Wilson. The Baltimore Ravens are a good team. They arguably have the best kicker in the league, one of the best defenses in the league, the best running game in the league, and a quarterback who runs a unique offense that's hard to prepare for. And over the last 2 weeks against pretty good teams, we'll call Seahawks, who are a borderline playoff team, a pretty good team, and against the Patriots. Remember, they're off a bye. The Ravens are off a bye. They had 2 weeks prepared for the Patriots. They look good at home. But if you think the Browns are a bad football team, this team lost to the Browns with him at quarterback, and he was a big reason why, because he kept turning the football over. If you think the Chiefs have a good defense, you're alone, and he looked like a below-average quarterback against the Chiefs. Like, well, look at the yards he threw for. Go back and watch the game. He had like 60 yards on miracle completions. He was bad by anyone's account. He just hucked it up there, and they made a play twice. And without those two, his completion percentage was like 40%. He was bad. I'm not telling you he's bad. I'm telling you the running always gets hit and always gets hurt. How do I know this? Because I have a brain and I've watched. And the throwing gets, and we're doing the same thing we did with Cam Newton when he won the MVP, which is the team's good. The team's better than we thought. They dominate running the football. They play against a softer schedule than we thought they played against. I mean, listen, they beat the Dolphins, the Cardinals, who both suck. They beat the Steelers, who aren't good, the Bengals, who are terrible, and the Seahawks, who probably don't make the playoffs. Maybe they do. And the Patriots. So far they have 1 win over a surefire playoff team, which, by the way, is what happened when Cam Newton won the MVP. He's not having a better year than Aaron Rodgers. He's not having a better year than Deshaun Watson. He's not having a better year than Russell Wilson. He's not having a better year than Christian McCaffrey. Like, I could keep going. The fact that he plays on a good team and they execute a game plan and they got a lead and kept the lead and stayed ahead and did all the right things and played a near perfect game off a bye at home against the Patriots team that had a shorter week to prepare, like, That's not an MVP, and I'm not taking the Ravens fans' word for it because the same Ravens fans wanted him out as quarterback last year. So we do this. We react to like some form of media, social media or regular media, saying the guy's going to stink. Like, no. What we're telling you is, for the last 30 years, we've been told a running quarterback is going to be the wave of the future. And from Randall Cunningham, who had some high highs and some low lows, to Mike Vick, same thing, to Vince Young, this is really Tebow time meets Cam Newton. Okay? And here's what I mean. Okay, when Tebow time happened and they went on that run and they won a playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was the same game plan. Run a unique offense, shorten the game. Remember, the Ravens only had the ball twice in the second half. And both times they had 14-play drives. It's stay ahead of the chains, run the football, zig when they zag. You had the best kicker in football, play to your defense, shorten the game. And that absolutely works for a short period of time. But eventually, people catch up to it. But please don't tell me he's having a better year than Russell Wilson. Please don't tell me he's having a better year than Aaron Rodgers. Please don't tell me he's having a better year than Deshaun Watson. Just because he's running the football and throwing the football recently at a higher clip does not mean he'll do it over a long and sustained period of time. When they beat the Seahawks, he had some great runs. He was 9 for 20. That's what he's going to have to do throughout his career. Like, look, if you want to use numbers and go like, well, he was awesome and wins, that's fine. But then you have to put Kirk Cousins in your MVP debate. Kirk Cousins, by the way, while he struggled at times against Kansas City Chiefs, did have 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. And the fact is that if they could cover Tyreek Hill, he would have won that game. The same game without Pat Mahomes at quarterback that the Baltimore Ravens lost. So I don't think anyone who really steps back and takes a look at it thinks, one, that he played poorly, but two, that he's the MVP. The most valuable player in the entire league is not, or even in the discussion, Lamar Jackson. He's having a good season, a better second season than many of his contemporaries. Some of that is the organization, some of that is the coaching, some of that is the style by which they play and the schedule that they play against. That's a reasonable discussion, and that's giving reasonable amount of credit to a young player who we have to see how he develops and evolves.